The first thing Lena Thompson felt was a pounding in her head. She groaned, pressing her hand to her temple as the sunlight filtered in through sheer curtains. Her mouth was dry, her dress was wrinkled, and the taste of champagne still clung faintly to her lips. The soft sheets beneath her smelled faintly of cedarwood and something else. Clean, expensive, and unfamiliar. Unfamiliar. Her eyes snapped open. This wasn't her apartment. Lena bolted upright in bed, only to freeze as the sheet slipped, revealing a black tuxedo jacket draped over her lap, and a man lying next to her. He stirred, one hand reaching to his tousled dark hair, before his sharp features registered. Clean jawline, dark lashes, toned build, the kind of man you'd expect on the cover of Forbes, not in her bed. "Oh my God," Lena whispered. Her heart raced as panic set in. The man blinked at her with piercing steel-gray eyes. "You're awake," he said groggily. She scrambled to clutch the sheet tighter. "Who are you? Where am I?" He sat up slowly, unfazed, and glanced at the gold band on his finger. "Well, this is awkward." Lena followed his gaze, her stomach dropped. There was a ring on her left hand, too. No. This can't be happening," she said, yanking the sheet tighter. "This has to be a mistake." "Do you not remember anything?" he asked, his voice calm but edged with curiosity. "I remember the charity gala," Lena said, trying to piece the fragments together. "The open bar. Someone spilled wine on my dress. You were the tech donor. Ethan something." "Ethan Blackwood," he supplied, standing up and retrieving his watch from the nightstand. He spoke with the practiced coolness of a man used to chaos. "Billionaire, CO. Unfortunately, your accidental husband." Lena's heart skipped. Blackwood. The name alone could shake Wall Street. The media called him reclusive, brilliant, maybe even dangerous. And now, legally tied to her? "This is insane," she muttered. "There has to be a way to undo this." "There is. Annulment," Ethan said. "But we'll need a lawyer, and probably a damage control plan." "Damage control?" Lena frowned. Ethan turned, his face serious now. "You may not realize this, but you're trending. Social media got wind of last night. Our picture is everywhere." Lena's eyes widened in horror. She worked in nonprofit development, not the public eye. The last thing she needed was to be known as Mrs. Blackwood by accident. I can't have my job jeopardized over this," she said. He crossed his arms. "And I can't afford another scandal. I'm already fighting off 2 merger investigations. My board won't like this." A silence fell between them, charged and awkward. Lena rose from the bed, holding the sheet like armor. "I need to leave. Where are my clothes?" "In the closet. They were steamed and sent up last night," Ethan replied smoothly. "Don't worry. The hotels used to. Complications." Lena marched to the closet, trying to ignore the warmth in her cheeks. She needed to call her sister, her boss, maybe her therapist. This wasn't just a mistake. It was a media storm in the making. As she dressed, Ethan spoke from behind her. "Look, I'll have my assistant call your office. We'll figure this out, quickly and quietly." She turned to face him. "No offense, but I don't want any favors from you." He gave a slight nod, unfazed. "Then let's call it a mutual inconvenience." The coldness in his tone caught her off guard. She expected arrogance, maybe charm. But Ethan Blackwood was calculating. Professional. A man who could erase mistakes with a single phone call, and yet he hadn't. Why hadn't he? As she stepped toward the door, Ethan's voice stopped her. "One more thing." She turned. "I need to know if you told anyone about last night." "No," Lena said stiffly. "I was too busy vomiting in the hotel bathroom." For the first time, a flicker of a smile touched his lips. It vanished just as quickly. "Good," he said. "Let's keep it that way." Lena opened the door and paused. For a moment, their eyes locked. hers full of confusion and disbelief, his unreadable. Cold steel beneath a mask of control. She didn't know it yet, but this was only the beginning. Because some mistakes don't just go away. They come back to haunt you. Hey, if this story has caught your attention so far, take a quick second to like, subscribe, and share to help us grow the channel. Your support helps us create more meaningful stories. Now, back to the story. Lena didn't look back as the elevator descended. Her heart thumped hard in her chest, not just from the hangover or the humiliation, but from the weight of what came next. Married to Ethan Blackwood. The name alone could shake nations. And now it was legally tied to hers, thanks to a wild night neither of them could fully recall. As she stepped into the hotel lobby, a tall woman in a smart navy suit intercepted her. "Ms. Thompson?" the woman asked. "Yes. I'm Simone, Mr. Blackwood's assistant. He asked me to give you this." She handed Lena a sleek envelope. Her fingers hesitated before taking it. "What is it?" "Instructions. And a proposal," Simone said with a tight, polite smile. "Car is waiting outside to take you home. Call me if you have any questions." With that, she turned and disappeared into the elevator. Lena slid into the back seat of the black SUV and stared at the envelope the entire ride home. She wasn't sure what scared her more, what had already happened, or what Ethan Blackwood had planned next. Inside her apartment, the silence was deafening. Lena tossed her heels aside, kicked open her bedroom door, and finally opened the envelope. Inside was a contract. Not a divorce agreement like she expected, but a temporary marriage agreement. Her eyes scanned the contents. "This agreement shall stand for a period of 90 days. Both parties shall refrain from disclosing the nature of the marriage publicly. Divorce may be filed upon completion of the term. All legal costs covered by Blackwood Holdings. A non-disclosure clause is binding. In exchange, a donation in the amount of $500,000 will be made to the Children First Foundation in Ms. Thompson's name." Lena sat down hard on the edge of her bed. He was offering to pay her foundation in exchange for staying married. She flipped to the last page. Ethan's signature was already there, clean and precise. The audacity of it made her blood boil, and yet, the offer wasn't just some billionaire's way of brushing her aside. It was strategic. It was leverage. And the worst part? It worked. Her nonprofit had been struggling to secure grants for months. $500,000 could fund their next year of programs, hire outreach staff, and expand their impact statewide. Ethan knew exactly where to hit her. She picked up her phone and called the number on the bottom of the contract. Simone answered. "Ms. Thompson, I want to speak to him. He's unavailable at the moment. Shall I have him call?" "No. I'm coming to him." 30 minutes later, Lena stormed into Blackwood Tower, her heels echoing off the marble floors. The receptionist barely blinked before directing her up. Ethan's office looked like something from a spy thriller. Floor-to-ceiling windows, minimalist design, and an air of quiet menace. He didn't rise as she entered. "I take it you've read the contract," he said, not looking up from his screen. "I read it, and I have questions." He gestured to the chair opposite his desk. "Ask." Lena sat, fire in her eyes. "Why 90 days? Long enough for the media buzz to fade," Ethan replied. "Short enough that you're not trapped." "And the donation?" "You're passionate about your foundation," he said. It seemed motivating. "Don't act like this is a favor," she snapped. "You're trying to protect your reputation." "I'm protecting both our reputations," he corrected. "You may not be a public figure, but your name is already being searched. This buys us time to control the narrative." Lena exhaled, leaning back. "And what narrative is that?" "That we're two adults who made a hasty, drunken decision and decided to make the best of it. Quietly, without spectacle." She eyed him. "You really think people will believe that?" Ethan finally looked her in the eye. People will believe what I tell them to believe. That arrogance again. And yet, part of her admired it. He wasn't just protecting himself. He was playing chess and everyone else was still on checkers. You're a cold man, Ethan Blackwood. I've been called worse. She studied the contract again. Her principals screamed at her to rip it up. But her heart, her mission, those kids said otherwise. If I sign this, she said slowly, I have conditions. His brow lifted slightly. Go on. Number 1. No interference in my work. I don't want your money influencing decisions at the foundation. Done. Number 2. We live separately. He hesitated. Optics would be better if we lived together. Then we fake it, Lena said firmly. Dinner dates. Photos. But I sleep in my own bed, and so do you. Pause. Then, fine. And number 3, no touching. No pretending we're actually married unless cameras are involved. His expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Amusement? Annoyance? She couldn't tell. Agreed, he said finally. Lena nodded, trying to slow her racing heart. She signed the document and slid it back across the desk. And just like that, she was officially Ethan Blackwood's wife for the next 90 days. Outside the tower, Lena leaned against the glass facade and closed her eyes. The city buzzed around her, unaware of the storm she was now part of. A fake marriage, powerful billionaire, and a deal that could change everything. She told herself it was just 3 months, just a business arrangement. No emotions, no attachment. But somewhere deep inside, a quiet voice whispered, this is only the beginning. 3 days had passed since Lena signed the agreement, but the weight of her new reality was just beginning to settle. The press had gotten wind of the wedding, though Ethan's PR team had already released a perfectly curated statement. Mr. Ethan Blackwood and Ms. Lena Thompson tied the knot in a private ceremony last week. The couple is excited to begin their new life together and asks for privacy during this special time. Special time, Lena scoffed, rereading the headline on her phone while sipping lukewarm coffee. Her phone buzzed again. A message from Simone. Blackwood Foundation Gala tonight, 8 p.m. sharp. Black car will pick you up at 6:30. Mr. Blackwood will meet you there. Lena rolled her eyes. So much for living separately and quietly. Still, she knew better than to argue this was part of the deal. Appear together. Smile for cameras. Act like lovebirds for a few hours. She just had to survive it. By 6:30, the car was waiting downstairs, and Lena stepped out in a navy satin gown that hugged her curves with a quiet elegance. She hadn't worn anything this expensive in her life. The stylist Ethan had sent earlier that day had chosen everything: the dress, the heels, the earrings. Even her hair had been curled into soft waves. She barely recognized herself in the mirror. She looked like someone's wife, someone rich. The gala was held at the city's most exclusive rooftop venue. Crystal chandeliers, skyline views, and waiters who glided rather than walked. As Lena stepped out of the car, all eyes turned. Then came Ethan, walking toward her in a tailored black tuxedo, the picture of control and charisma. Cameras flashed as he took her hand and leaned in. You look stunning, he murmured. His hand rested gently at the small of her back. Lena smiled tightly. Keep it PG. No sudden touches. You said no touching unless cameras are involved, he whispered near her ear. They're watching. She gritted her teeth as they entered the grand hall, flashbulbs exploding around them. Inside, the room glittered with power. Lena recognized politicians, celebrities, CEOs, people who lived in a world she'd never been part of. And now, she was being paraded through it on Ethan Blackwood's arm. Their entrance drew whispers and admiring glances. Ethan Blackwood? Married? And she's not from money? Who is she? She's gorgeous. She must be special. Lena kept her smile frozen in place. She'd never felt more on display in her life. Ethan steered her toward a table near the stage, but as they sat, A blonde woman in a red dress slid into the seat beside Lena with a forced smile. "Well, this is a surprise," she said sweetly. "You're even prettier in person." "Lena, meet Clarissa Vane," Ethan said, sipping his whiskey without much warmth. "We dated a long time ago. She's a friend of the family." "Oh," Lena said, extending a hand. "Nice to meet you." Clarissa ignored it. "So, tell me, was it love at first sight? Or did you just wake up married one morning?" She chuckled darkly. Lena blinked. "Excuse me?" Clarissa leaned in. "Ethan doesn't fall in love. He collects models, socialites, daughters of politicians. But a charity worker? That's new." "Clarissa," Ethan warned, his tone low. "Oh, relax," she said, swirling her wine. "We're just getting to know each other." Lena felt her temper spike, but she forced a calm smile. "Well, Clarissa, I guess some things are beyond your understanding. Like sincerity." Clarissa's eyes narrowed. "How quaint." "Ladies," Ethan said tightly, "let's not make a scene." But it was too late. The tension had already drawn attention from nearby tables. Lena stood, her chair scraping the floor. "I need air." She turned on her heels and walked out onto the terrace, the cool night breeze hitting her face like a slap. Her heart pounded in her chest. She hated this, every moment of it. The glitz, the lies, the pretense. A few minutes passed before she heard footsteps behind her. "You handled her better than I expected," Ethan said, joining her at the railing. "Is this what every night is going to be like? Defending myself from your past flings?" "She's not a threat. She's just bitter." "I don't care if she's bitter or broken," Lena snapped. "I didn't sign up for this level of humiliation." Ethan looked at her, then out at the city lights. "You think I enjoy this?" Lena blinked. "You thrive in this." "No, I tolerate it. There's a difference." They stood in silence, the wind brushing past them. For a moment he looked tired. Not cold, not smug, just human. "You didn't have to come," he added quietly. "You could have backed out." "I came because of the foundation," she replied. "Not because of you." "Then stop letting people like Clarissa get to you." Lena sighed. "You don't get it." "I do," he said. "More than you think." She turned to face him, his eyes darker than she remembered. For the first time since their agreement, there was something raw in his expression. Not arrogance. Not manipulation. Guilt? He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small envelope. "What's this?" she asked. "Proof of donation. $500,000. Already transferred to your foundation." Lena's throat tightened. "Why now?" "Because I made a deal. And I keep my word." She took the envelope and clutched it in both hands. Her heart was racing again. But this time for a different reason. Maybe, just maybe, there was more to Ethan Blackwood than she'd allowed herself to believe. Lena sat in her apartment's dimly lit kitchen, Ethan's donation letter spread out on the table like a puzzle piece that didn't quite fit. Her fingers traced the official signature at the bottom. $500,000. Just like that. He didn't even gloat. Didn't use it to manipulate her. He just gave it. Her stomach twisted. Was this guilt? Gratitude? Or something more dangerous, trust? She had told herself this was a business arrangement. No strings. No blurred lines. But Ethan Blackwood was unraveling all her rules without even trying. And now they were set to attend another event together tomorrow. This time, a smaller private dinner with potential donors for her charity. The thought that he'd chosen to back her cause so publicly made her nervous. She didn't want to owe him. Not emotionally. Not personally. But she already did. The next evening, Ethan arrived earlier than expected, dressed in a dark charcoal suit. Lena's breath caught when she opened the door. "You clean up well," she said, trying to sound casual. "You don't look half bad yourself." He eyed her emerald green dress with open appreciation. "Try to behave," she muttered, grabbing her clutch. "Always," he smirked. In the car, silence stretched between them like a taut wire. Then Lena finally asked, "Why did you donate so much?" Ethan looked at her, eyes unreadable. "Because I believe in your work." "No, seriously." "I am serious." Lena frowned. "There's more to it." He hesitated. "Maybe I wanted you to see I'm not the monster you think I am." She looked away. "We barely know each other. You're my wife. On paper. That doesn't mean I don't care." Lena's heart skipped. "Don't do that." "Do what?" "Say things like that. It complicates things." "Maybe they need to be complicated," he replied softly. The dinner was elegant, but far less intense than the gala. A dozen people sat around the long table, philanthropists, community leaders, and one or two influential board members from Lena's foundation. Ethan was charming, too charming. He laughed at the right moments, asked thoughtful questions, and even introduced Lena like she was the best thing that had ever happened to him. "She's the heart of this mission," he said at one point. "I just fund the dream. She lives it." Lena didn't know whether to thank him or slap him for being so perfect. As dessert was served, she excused herself to get some air. Too much attention, too much smiling, too many eyes watching her like she was someone she wasn't. She stepped into a quiet hallway near the restrooms and leaned against the wall, exhaling slowly. "Running again?" came Ethan's voice. She turned to see him approaching. "Just needed a minute." He nodded. "You're doing great." She studied him. "Do you ever stop performing?" Ethan leaned beside her against the wall. "Not really. It's what I was raised to do." "And what's real then?" He glanced down. "I don't know. This might be." Lena swallowed hard. "You're married to a stranger. For image. For business. That's not real." Ethan looked up. "Then what is?" She didn't have an answer, and in the silence, she felt the air between them shift, charged and heavy. Ethan moved closer. "Tell me to back off," he said quietly. She didn't. His hand brushed a loose strand of hair from her cheek. Her breath caught, and then his lips were on hers, slow, searching, dangerously tender. Lena let herself melt for a moment. Just a moment. Then she pulled away. "We can't," she whispered, breathless. "I know," Ethan replied, voice low. "But I wanted to." "So did I." They stood there, hearts pounding. But before they could say another word, a voice rang out down the hall. "There you are." It was Simone, Ethan's assistant. She glanced between them, her expression unreadable. "We have a situation. Someone leaked the marriage contract." Lena froze. "What do you mean?" Simone pulled out her phone and held it up. Headlines flashed across the screen. "The Billionaire's Fake Bride?" "Insider leaks prenup agreement between Ethan Blackwood and Lena Thompson." Lena's legs went weak. "No, no, no. We don't know who leaked it," Simone said. "But it's spreading like wildfire." Ethan's jaw clenched. "We need to get ahead of this. Now." Lena turned to him, her voice shaking. "You told me this would be private. I didn't do this. But someone from your side did. They had access." Simone tried to intervene, but Lena held up her hand. "Don't. Just don't." Her chest tightened. Everything she'd worked for, her foundation's credibility, her personal dignity, the fragile trust she'd started to feel. It was all unraveling. "I need to think," she said, pushing past them. Ethan reached for her arm, but she stepped away. "Don't. Lena, please. I can't trust you right now," she said, her voice breaking. And trust was all we had left. Lena didn't sleep that night. She sat in her living room, watching the news spin theories, panelists debate her motives, and gossip blogs dissect every photo of her and Ethan since their first public appearance. She thought of her team, her friends, wondering what they'd think, if they'd believe her. And most of all, she thought of Ethan, his kiss, his anger, his promise, and his betrayal. She didn't know what part of it had been real anymore. But she knew this. The lines had blurred, and there was no going back. If this journey has touched your heart in any way, please like, subscribe, and share this video. Don't forget to hit the notification bell for part 2 and part 3 of this series.